Afternoon, guys. I think I might be a touch early. No, I'm right on time. Fantastic. So hi. I'm just obviously going to wait for a few people to join in, and then we will get started. Okay. Wednesday again already. Can't believe it at the minute. The weeks just seem to be sort of flying by. I can't decide whether that's a good thing or a bad thing right now. Truth be told. In a way, it's a good thing because as much as I struggle with heat, I do want it to be slightly warmer than it is right now. Right, guys, so give me a wave or a thumbs up or a hi. When you get here, emojis are good. Comments are better. Hi, Alison. How are you? On a lovely Wednesday. Lovely Wednesday. So I'm just trying to find the live so that I can see your comments. There we go. Right. Hi Sue, hi Noreen. Right. So today, hi Alison, Angela from Arizona. Sorry, I was reading the wrong one. How are you? Hi Shaz. Right. So yeah, today I thought we'd do maybe a little bit with Dylusions sprays, and the reason is, from a purely selfish perspective, I feel like I haven't used them in ages. I'm living the dream, Alison. I haven't used them in ages, and the problem is, you'll know what this is like. You get some new products and you get sort of captivated by them and you get carried away, and then you find you're not really... sorry, my phone's playing up. You're not really using all the other things from your stash. And I use my white Dylusions spray, as if you've joined me before, you'll see I use my white Dylusions spray all the time. Because it's just so handy to have. But my other Delusions ink, I feel like I've abandoned a little bit. So I want to have a play with those today. So if there's anything specific you would like to see with the Delusions ink sprays, please let me know. Yes, Shaz, I have had a very busy morning packing. Hi, Malcolm. So yeah, it's been a bit busy. Right. Do you want to know something really sad? I sort of cleaned my Dina Wakley brushes. Obviously, that one not quite as good as I should have. And I just keep them sat next to me because I like them so much. I mean, that's just a little bit sad, isn't it? But they're so lovely. I mean, look at the size of that one. It's just lovely. So they just live next to me right now because I just like looking at them, even if I'm not using them. It's sad, but I love it. Right. So, Delusions Ink Sprays. Now, Delusions Ink Sprays, I feel like I owe a lot to. These are what turned me from a regimented, everything has to be even, balanced, layered, sort of a crafter, because I was primarily a scrapbooker before these. So I should do some scrapbooking at some point, shouldn't I? But yeah, I was primarily a scrapbooker before I got hold of these, and then I saw Diane Reevely use them. And I absolutely adored them. I loved the coverage, I loved what they did, I loved how they reacted, and what have you. And they're just lovely. But they're not, you can't easily control them. You can't say, well, that bit's going to go there and that bit's going to go there. They don't work that way. So I had to sort of loosen up creatively and be willing to, just take it a bit more easy and all this sort of thing. And these really did help me do that. And then they created the messy Bev that I am today. Right, so let's have a little look through these. So yeah, so you've got there's lots of colours in these, and they're also available in the little shimmer sprays as well. They're absolutely cool. And basically these are a dye ink. Okay, they are reactive with water. They do blend with each other. You can layer them up. Now, what's really cool about the Delusions range, for example, is if you use the Delusions paint, okay, you can use these over the top and they don't bead because it doesn't resist. So what we'll do, actually, I'm going to grab some Delusions paint as well, and let's grab a journal And we'll start laying some colour down. I can't find my Dylusions journal at the minute. I could crack open a new one, couldn't I? I actually have a new Dylusions journal. It could possibly be about to fall on my noggin. Here we go. So this is the original Dylusions Creative Journal, right? And it's full of beautiful mixed media cardstock. I know what you're thinking. This woman just keeps using other journals. I do, because I love them. If you look, they've got these big pages, you know, beautiful things. Now, if you are just starting out on a new journal, okay, what I think is really cool, oh, my Dina brush. Sorry. I always think it's a good place to start in the middle of a signature as well. So if you look in the Dylusions journal, you have lots and lots. There we go. See if that'll focus. You have lots and lots of signatures there. So loads if you want to rip pages out as well, because it's such a good cardstock, right? But what I'll do, because I'm just starting out, I'll find the middle of a signature and we'll start there. Now, your sprays, like I say, are really, really fluid. So if you are worried about them bleeding through your signature in other places, you can gesso that or put some washi tape down over it. Now, when Sam is art journaling, Sam always gessos her pages. Okay? Now, in fairness, I don't, because I'm just not, I don't have the patience for it. And I don't think that far ahead, whereas Sam does. But I will say, with your Dylusions journal as well, it's, sometimes I find it can stop the ink moving the way I want it to. But then that's a personal preference thing. Try it both ways, find the way that works for you. Okay? So it's just, it is really just whichever works for you. So I am going to grab some paint. We'll find some coordinating paint. I think I'm going to go with a lemon drop, actually, because I love a lemon drop. So we'll put a lemon drop down and then use the other inks over the top. Okie dokie. Just going to grab some water as well. Because I'm already changing the plan of what I'm going to do. Why do I do this? Even when I make a plan, I then go off on a tangent in a different direction, don't I? It's just no good. Right. Just so I can show you what I mean with how the inks don't resist on the Dylusions paint. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of the Dylusions paint. I'm going to work across here. Okay, and we're just going to put that, and we're not going for total coverage, we're just adding in some different, wow, that's bright. I always mix it with something else. Wow, that is bright when it's on its own. In a great way. But you can, this is, you know, if you wanted to add some water to it and spread it out, that you can do that too. You do have excellent coverage with it. And that's what's great about all the Dylusions products. So you can really sort of get it on there. Okay, so we're going to work across the middle of there. Right. Now I'm going to give it a blast with my heat tool. Or do you have loads of snow? We don't have loads of snow. It hasn't really committed to it at all. It's just sort of, it keeps flurrying about every hour or so. Okay. Now all of these techniques and everything are obviously completely transferable. So you know you can do this with your card making. You can do it on much smaller sizes. It's just you finding the way that works for you. But the whole point is, if you are a paper crafter, nearly all the products that we use on Crafting Together All brands, you know, they will work for you in some way. We're not saying you have to craft exactly like us or in any specific way, but they will work. Right, so what I'm going to do, what you will get with Delusions Ink Sprays is a fantastic array of cast-offs. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift up my journal, put some tissue paper up there. I'm not too worried about it getting on me. When I say not too worried, like not worried at all. See, this is some tissue paper that I was spraying onto last night. So it just all adds to it, really. So here we go. It is the lemon drop. If you like, now here's one of those things. Before I started using these sprays in particular, the Delusions Ink Sprays, because like I say, they were my first sprays. I worked in specific colours, and I was doing a cybercrop once, which is scrapbooking classes and stuff online, and I realised I actually own nothing yellow. And nowadays that would seem really strange to me, because I use yellow sprays a lot, I use yellow paint a lot, because it's a really good, you know, in-betweeny colour. But back in the day, it didn't seem weird at the time. Right, so now I'm going to go straight in. I'm going to go with my water sprayer first, okay? And this is just to help the ink move a little bit. So we're going to put a little mist of water over the top, and then we're going to go in with our Delusions sprays. Okay, and then we're going to take some of this. So sorry, the colours I'm using, I have bubblegum pink, lemon zest. The paint was lemon drop, so you can see the lemon zest has got sort of a slightly tinted more orangey hue to it, but it was the brightest orange around for a very long time until lemon zest came out. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of the Blue Lagoon. Okay. Okay. Now, what you can do is you can then dry this as it is. You can add more water, okay, or whatever. But what you can also do is do your pages together and almost ghost print pull them, okay. Just going to push that a little bit more towards there, and you see you will get this come out here. But it doesn't bother me too much. Obviously, if it does you. And then you get all this. So what you can do is you can take more tissue paper if you want to, which I am going to do. And we're just going to use this to mop up this little bit of extra where it's slightly starting to muddy in here. Okay, and put that down there. I've always said the only thing you can't do really with your Delusion sprays, I'm just going to add a bit more pink in here, is you can't guarantee you'll get the same thing twice. Okay, it just doesn't work that way. And then I'm going to, and you can roller off the excess, you can do that too. You can take some mixed media cardstock. So the mixed media heavy stock from Distress, it's basically this cardstock but slightly heavier, and it's really, really good. So you can take this and lift off somewhere it's really wet if you want to. Okay. lift off different bits, and then you get, so you don't have to waste the ink at all. And then, like I say, you do have your tissue paper behind. Okay, so if you look at all the colours that we have on here, now if you look, okay, so when I said it doesn't resist the paint, what I mean is the resistor spray, it doesn't bead it on top, but you can move it around, but it will cover as well, but it doesn't create that sort of beading effect, okay, which is absolutely fab. Don't worry, Susan, it's okay. Right, so I'm sorry, I've lost my comments, just give me a second while I give this a little heat up. So we used bubblegum pink, but you can see it doesn't actually come through, and that got really, really wet. We used bubblegum pink, lemon zest, and Blue Lagoon. Okay, so just using the Blue Lagoon, look at all the different blues and greens we've got in here. So that's another thing I love about the Delusions Ink Sprays. Okay, yeah, there's a pretty decent colour palette, but with just a few colours, you can literally start with 3 colours, and then you have something really, really special to play with. Because, you know, out of here you've got the Blue Lagoon. I would say that's the Blue Lagoon colour, as you would expect it to be. And then you've got this beautiful purple. And then this blue here, and then these greens. Same on this page. All these colours working together to create an absolutely beautiful background that was easy to do, quick and easy coverage, at pace. Do you know what I mean? And that's why it was so appealing to me, because you can just sort of crack on, get the job done, no problem at all. Right, so now I'm going to take this template here, and we're going to use bubblegum pink to create that there, and then I'm going to use the reverse on here, and then I might do it again in the Blue Lagoon, and then again we'll flip it over up here. Oh, I splattered, that's alright. Then I'll go again over here then. Okay, now maybe a touch of lemon zest down in this corner. Which I'll then bring over to this corner. But like I say, these are reactive with water as well. So I'm just going to quickly heat set this a little bit. So this is obviously really, really bright, vivid. Like I say, you can get carried away. You can say, right, all I'm using is my new stuff because it's so pretty, which obviously it is, because otherwise we wouldn't get it, would we? But you don't want to do that. And, right, so now what I will do with that template now, right, is I will lift up a page in my journal, and then I'll just tuck it in there, okay? Oh, pretty hands. And basically what that's going to do is that's going to start a page for me somewhere else, okay? And that will start a page for me, so that when I'm suffering from a loss of mojo and I don't know what I'm doing, I'll go and I'll find that page and I'll start again. And I'll start on there. I have done some lives on here where I've started pages like that have already started, where I've put templates or I've cleaned off a mat with them. Okay. Now, all I will say, Okay, like I say, the fab thing about these journals is it's really good paper / cardstock. Okay, so if you do your pages like this, and you're like, right, I love to do these pages, and then you look at that and you're like, do you know what? I would love to use that as a backing paper for another page that I can rip up, or I would love to use that as a die cutting page or whatever. Rip it out the book. Honest to God, one of the fantastic thing about the Dylusions journals. Sorry, I'm going to find out the actual info instead of guessing, because I can't remember how many pages are in it altogether. I can't remember. Sam's here. Sam, could you find out how many pages are in the Dylusions journal for me, please? Basically, though, there's blooming loads. So I have always used do I get much chance to play when it's not live? In all honesty, that's one of the reasons I love the lives, because a lot of the time I don't finish because I get too involved, don't I? And whatever. And it sort of encourages me to play outside of that. But in all honesty, yes I do. Not as much as I'd like, in all honesty, to play outside the lives. But no, I do get to play a little bit. Like I say, not as much as I'd like to. But who does? You know, in reality. Right, so here's where I put that template. So you can see, it started putting... Why is it not focusing as well today? It started putting that texture on there. So that'll be fantastic to come back to another time. But there's still some ink on there. So I could spray it again. Put it back down. Spray that side in case there's any there. Oh, see, now we've got loads. Look at that. Let's do it again. Now look at that on there. Now that will be a nice page to do, won't it? Because we've got all of the colours that we were using on that template. So do you know what? I'm actually going to give that a quick dry. On here. 64 pages. There you go. See, 64 pages. You know, if you consider it against, you know, these little packs, but there's 20 sheets in there, and they're only little. For me, I just think it's one of the cheapest ways to buy the media cardstock. But that's just my opinion. Right. So you've got that. I'm almost tempted to work on one of these pages. I can't lie. Right. That one especially. That one is just absolutely gorgeous. Really, really love it. So yeah, so you get lots of mileage, basically, out of your inks. Lots of ways you can go, and all this sort of thing. You can also use your Delusions inks to tint texture paste, like your grit paste and things like that. So let me grab some of my grit paste, and we'll do that. So we might just work on this side, just for a little bit. So if I get some of my grit paste, okay, and I love this stuff. It's really light and it just feels easy to work with. So put some of that down on my mat. Okay, and then we're going to go in with our lemon zest. Now, if you want these to be really rich, I still think your distress re-inkers are probably the best way to go, because they're a really, really intense colour. But, you know, we're all about... This one is the Tim Holtz Distress Grit Paste. And it's sort of like a moussey sort of texture. I mean, there's it would if you have the texture paste from Lynette or any other texture paste you use, it would work with those two. There you go, so you can sort of mix it together. And then, okay, with our palette, with our template we were using earlier, let's just carry on with that. Okay, we're going to do a little bit down there. A little bit down there. And then I'll just see if I can scrape up the last of that. I'm going to go onto here. And sort of smush that a little bit, but that's alright. So, yes, I don't know what I'm taking that way, that can stay there. Rather than balancing it on something. So, you can heat set your grit paste, which is really, really useful as well. Well, I do. Does it actually say whether you can? I have no idea. No idea. I do. I heat set my grit paste. Like I say, I'll be quite honest and say I do have positive sides. I'm not going to lie. Patience isn't one of them. Just, you know, don't have it. Don't have it at all. So it's just about, again, one of the big things crafting together all brands is about using products you have, with maybe something new you've got, or getting something new you've got and getting something old to go with it. So yeah, you can use your Dylusions because they are that water-based dye. You can use your, see, it does sort of puff up a little bit if you heat it too much. But again, I don't mind, especially in when you're art journaling, because it's all, you know, it's all texture, isn't it? Don't put your finger in front of your heat gun. I know I just did, but that's one of those things where I feel like I should do some sort of disclaimer. So what have we all been crafting today, or last couple of days, or anything like that, really? Have we all been doing lots of crafty things? Or any crafty things? You don't have to do lots of crafty things. So I'm just going to wipe that grit paste off. Whilst it's there, because otherwise I won't. And you should really take the grit paste off, wash it off straight away. So I always say I'll bring in like a little dish with water in that I can put things in, but I don't. So, like I say, because I've already gone off on a tangent, I'm not really sure where this is going, and I'm fully aware I say that to you every single week. But in my defence, it is true. Every single week. So, it's not like I'm lying to you. Right, so this is the white linen Dylusions spray. Now, all of your Dylusion sprays, in general, okay, can just be stood up, you're absolutely fine. Give them a swish before you go, and whatever, and you're good. We do shake that way. I swirl. It just stops any air bubbles getting sucked up into your nozzle and then causing a thing. Your white linen, that as you can see is used a lot in this house, you store lay down. Because it has a sediment in it. Okay? To create the white. And what you don't want to do is have that sediment stuck at the bottom of your thing, and if you squish it in the sediment at the bottom, sucking the sediment up and you're creating a blockage up your tubes, which nobody wants. Okay, no one wants tube blockages, right? So store it on its side, swish it around, it's got a ball bearing in there, alright, and you're good to go. Now, this can wick some of the colour away, because like I was saying, your Delusions ink sprays are water reactive. So if I'm going to just quickly grab, I should never use the word quickly, should I? And again, I'm so sorry guys, I promise I did have a plan. There's so much I want to tell you every week. As soon as I decide what I'm doing, I'm like, oh, I can tell them that. And then as soon as I start, I get distracted and don't. Right, so I'm just going to put that mandala on there, and I'm going to grab a cloth. So if we spray that with water, okay, you can see the ink is reactivated. Pull it away, and you've got your mandala behind. Can you see that? So even after you've dried it, even though there was water on the page to get it moving, it's still reactive with water after that, which is really, really funky. Okay? Which I like. Because I like to put water down so that it moves, but, you know, it's still reactive with water if you want to do some sort of ghosting techniques after that. But what you can also do is take your white linen dilution spray and we're gonna spritz. I'm not getting a very even spray on here. That's okay. Spray on there. And then I'm going to lift this off. And then on this side, we're going to use that white ink. And put our mandala on there like that. Again, you can mist it. Put our mandala on there. Like that. Which is beautiful. Alright, and this is the thing, like I say, and I know I'm repeating myself and I'm so sorry, but what we want from our craft products, all of our craft products, anything you've got in your stash, you know, what you want is for it to be able to do lots of things. You want it to, you know, be good enough and useful enough that every time you go into your craft room you can say, right, I'm getting that out again. Or, you know, you buy something new. Oh, that'll go really well. So, it's just a case, like I say, your dilution sprays, because they give such intense, massive coverage as well. If you struggle with blending, getting blending mixes and whatever, it's a really quick, easy, low impact way of doing it, basically. Which is ace. Okay, now here is a quick hot tip. If you are putting the white linen onto the coloured and you really want it to shine out white, okay, leave it a day and then put it on top, okay, because the amount of ink I put on here with my Delusions Spray Ink penetrates right to the core, okay, of the cardstock. So until it's dry, it will still pull that ink out. Now I really like it because if you look, it's pulled like some sort of the bluer tones out and whatever, but it will stand out a crisper white if you leave it a day in between. And that goes for using your Ink Essentials white pen and whatever. You are best leaving it a day if you want to, but like I say, I'm impatient, so I just make my peace with that. If you don't want to wait a day, maybe put your Dina Wakley white gloss spray on instead, and that won't wick as much colour away and it'll be more white. Okay, so that's just an if you want to. Okay. Okay, now from here we're going to use some of the tissue paper from the off spray. And you will find with your tissue paper, it'll be happier to tear one way than it will others, because that's just the nature of what it is. So it's just finding the way that you want it to go. And like I say, these are water-based dye inks, so when you are using your mediums to stick it down, there is a chance the ink will move a little bit, so you just have to decide whether you're happy with that or not, really. That's just... strips there. I'm going to use some more of these strips over here. I'm not sure I'm going to get this finished today. What time are we on? Oh, 2:36. So we've got time yet. We're okay. I didn't bring more gesso home, more matte medium, so I'm hoping that's going to be enough to do what I want to do today. Right, little brush for my matte medium. That'll do. Okay, so matte medium, here we go. Now the wicked thing about using like a matte medium is that it doesn't, you know, if you don't stick something everywhere where you've put it, it's okay, because it doesn't dry shiny. Dries back. In all honesty, I tend to not overdo it. Lynette is obviously a much better person in terms of advising mediums, but I tend not to overdo it. I figure a lot of the time I stick more over the top anyway, so what does it matter? I'm just going to go into, sort of press it in, the tissue into where I've done the... And it's just something else. In your art journal, regardless of which one you have, okay, your art journal is your safe place. It is where you can practice with products you've only just got, or you can make mistakes with products you've just got. Trust me, I use that option a lot. You can swatch. You know, you could swatch different colours together, see what you think. You can, you know, if you're a card maker, like I say, this is a really good way of getting this sort of backing paper for yourself, if you want to have a play. Now this is something else I did talk about recently, when someone asked me to say, oh, what sort of crafter are you? I was like, what do you mean? And they said, well, are you a card maker or an art journaler or a mixed media artiste? I won't say what I said to that. And what have you. And I said, well, no. I don't really classify myself as any of those things, really. Because I do... Because I do it all. If pushed, I say paper crafter. Because I use paper. Fabric hates me. So yeah, if pushed, I'll say paper crafter. But yeah, that's just because fabric and sewing machines really, really hate me. Like, in a bad way. But aside from that, don't worry. Yeah, Heinz 57, Dominique, love it. Right. you know, we're supposed to be now living in a world without boundaries and stuff. Let's not start applying them to our craft. So there you go. So the tissue paper that you were using to catch your cast off, okay, is now part of the design too. Not saying that you have to use it all together, obviously. You can sort of save your tissue paper and use it on a plainer sheet after. For example, that page that we started here, I think that would look really cool with some of the tissue paper on as well. Alright, so I'm going to give that a quick waft with my heat tool. Now, in all honesty, at this stage I probably would leave it to dry while I work on some other elements to layer up. But it is just a case of you deciding, you know, what you want to do. Okay, so I think we need to start adding in some stamps. That's what I think. Okay, so like I said, the beautiful thing about this is these are a water-based dye ink, so you can stamp on this with anything you want. Okay, so you can stamp on here with your oxide, you can stamp on here with your distress, you can stamp on here with your archival. It really is just have a go with what you have. Oh, I've got some little circles here. I did find my texture borders that I'd lost. Don't know where they are now, like. And I do have my stitchy borders here. So we'll use a few of them, I think. Right. So, archival. Mini archival. Now, yeah, I have the mini archivals, again, for storage reasons, but they work, you know, if you've got the big ones, that's cool. If you've got the little ones, that's cool. You know. So I'm going to use my border Super Skinny Slim. And then some archival. So I think I'm going to go with this Vivid Chartreuse. Very nice. Sounds proper swanky. That is not vivid enough for my liking. Do you know what? I'm gonna go to my oxides. I need something that's gonna sit on top. So let's go for, I'm looking for a Twisted Citron. Haha. Twisted Citron. Okay. Still to finish last Christmas embroidery. And that's the thing. Do all sorts. Quilt, dye, weave, knit, felt, crochet. I can't knit either. I can't. Sam can. She has tried to teach me several times. Basically, I just can't. Oh, yes, that's better. You know. Now, I will probably spend lots of time telling you guys, oh, there's nothing you can't do. You can do it all. Yeah, that's one of those do as I say, not as I do things. I cannot knit. Knit one, purl one, carry one. Times it by, you know, the last thing you ate. I have no idea. It just is an absolute mystery to me. So, go over there. And then I'm going to go to my stitchy borders. And I'm going to use, oh no, I'd love to knit. I used to love to cross stitch. I used to cross stitch a lot. But I don't anymore. I think it's ever since my eyes got rubbish. My eyes are rubbish. I'm going to have a little go with my archival. Like I say, I have mixed results with archival. But But the good thing about using archival is if you then want to add on more water or more sprays later, you can without wrecking your stamping, which is good news, isn't it? So going with our archival down here. So this, as daft as it sounds, is my favourite thing to do. Create layers. Layers of colour and paint and ink and all sorts of things. I'm contemplating cutting that page out, in all honesty, and using it for something else. And that's what use lots of different stuff, even if I don't know where it's going yet. So I don't have to know where it's going yet. That's the joy. So I will possibly create... Let me put it this way. I start a lot more pages than I finish. But I don't see that as a negative. Especially because if I'm enjoying what I'm doing as I'm crafting, I actually don't see why it would matter. And then actually I'm going to do the 4 circles, the 5 circles. There. Actually I'm going to ink them up again. I'm going to do the 4. I think that would look really, really cool. Are we talking about Sam's Mark doing the rug fixing? He is good. He does patches. So right, so now I'm going to use this stitchy border and I'm going to go all the way around the outside. As if all things that sewed, did sewing, didn't hate me with a fiery passion. And I was able to add stitching to my pages. They do! I had a sewing machine. I actually have a new one. Just a little fun one that Mum bought me to play with. To try and convince me not all sewing machines hate me. I haven't yet. Right, so I'm just going to move the stamp right to the edge of my block. Okay. And I'm going to take all my tissue paper out of the way because it's now hindering me. Because I can't turn the journal round. Okay. I'm going to turn this round and ink up. I'm going to go all the way around. Now, because I've put it on the edge, you can get right next to the seam of your page, which is what we want. Okay, well, it's what I want because I want to do an edge. Hi Judith. No problem at all, my lovely. It's just lots of layers: paint, ink, templates, tissue paper, and so on, basically. Rinse and repeat. Right, I think what I'm going to do from here, I missed a section there, haven't I? There we go. Right, so then we've got our stitch all around the outside, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm going to get piece of card because I want you to look at this as a single page. Like I said, there is a chance I am going to cut that other side out. I'm just going to snip these excess bits, the edges. I'm going to tidy that up. Probably not with this pair of scissors though, they're rubbish. Alright, then we're going to give that a little heat set. Someone said that when choosing new inks to go with colours you're likely to use. That's what I say, yes. But what would I like to know is what mini or full-size ones be good in either oxide. They don't do oxides in mini, so there you go. That one's easily fixed. Don't do oxides in mini, so if you want oxides they have to be the big ones. Okay. The mini, I have all the mini kits though for the regular distress ink, except in the new colours. I wasn't patient enough to wait for the new set to come out, so I've got big ones in those. I always say go with the colours you like. Do not, honestly, Lou was saying this last night in this group and I was saying it on my live and mine. Don't get yourself weighed down with, oh, colour theory and, oh, well, somebody said 3 years ago, can't remember their name, but, you know, they might have been called Frank. Somebody said I shouldn't use this colour together or that colour together or whatever. No. No. You don't want to listen to these people. They're not your friends. You know, use whatever colours you like. If it is, especially if it's in a journal, like I said, your journal is your safe place, okay? So especially if it's in a journal where it's yours, it's not for anyone else's consumption, it's for you to play and enjoy, and I think that's what's so freeing about it, because it's not for anyone else. So if you are pleased by the colours, if you're using ones where you think, I think they look nice together, alright, then that's all it needs to be. Okay, so for example, last night I was using the new colour of Oxide spray, and it's a pink, in the kit's flamingo, and lots of people have said, well, I don't really like pink, it's not, I wish it had been a green, a blue, a grey, basically any other colour. But it's actually a really good colour, okay, because it works both sides. If you are into colour theory, it works both sides of the colour wheel, because it works with both the cool and warm tones, so you can mix it with both. But the whole point is, it doesn't matter. If anyone was to look at, for example, the things I made last night and go, oh, well, I don't think she should have used it with the Rustic Wilderness green, because you shouldn't use pink and green, then that's cool. But I do, so I did. Do you know what I mean? And that's the important thing. We are all crafting for fun. Even if you make to sell, you still craft for fun. So make sure you keep it that way. Okay? Because if it's not fun, then it's just hard work. Alright. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going in and adding in some of my white Posca dots, just to add in a little bit more highlight detail. Obviously you don't have to do dots, you can actually draw around sections, you know, highlight them, you know, do some stitches instead, you know, do some big faux stitches, sort of tie in the stitchy thing. You know, you can make them quite bold. You can use your template and doodle through it using your Posca pen. And then, it really annoys me when people do this, but, you know, I'm running out of time. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of the doodle art flowers and things on here. So I will put the finished thing on the wall, on the group, and then you'll be able to see it when it's done. So in answer to Shazzy's previous question, do I get to craft much when I'm not doing online? Do I get to play much? Not as much as I'd like, but the whole point is, now I know how I want to finish this page, I will now sit here and complete this page for the afternoon, hopefully. I'm sure I'll get distracted at some point by some sort of homeschooling emergency. But, you know, just as and when you can. But because I don't feel that pressure to get it finished or on any sort of time scale, you know, that's why it's nice and easy to play with. So I hope you don't mind that I got my Delusions Ink Sprays out today, but I just feel like I'd abandoned them for a while. And it got me started in a new journal, which is always a good thing to do, because otherwise they sit there. And I know several of you do have journals. So they're kind of like this. It's kind of like an upside down lily. I feel like I should draw it in. But I'm not going to, because I know what I'm going to do. You know, I know lots of you have bought yourself new journals either over the break or whatever. Sorry, I'm just going to have a quick look on the comments, see if I can see any questions I've missed in particular. What is best to get, a spray or a pad, please? I can only afford for one colour. Well, I've been using the Delusions Ink Sprays today, so they don't do ink pads. But if you're talking stain sprays or... oh, I don't know. Because the thing is, the beauty with ink pads, obviously, is you can... if you can only get one or the other... nope, that's not the one I want. The beauty of ink pads is obviously you can stamp with them as well as do your backgrounds. But on the whole, I would probably always go for an ink pad instead of a spray. I think. I don't know. But because I do like a spray. Because the coverage, basically, the coverage is so good. So if you are journaling, and this is a big journal, you know, if you are journaling, you just get that coverage straight away, which means you can see what your page is doing. I mean, you don't have to use 3 colours like I did, but, you know, they are just really, really good fun. I don't know whether I will pull that page out or whether I'll just stick something in to divide it. I haven't decided. Yeah, so I'm just going to keep messing and fussing with this one here. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. It's quite an involved page, isn't it? So it's going to take quite a while. But yeah, so make sure you grab something out of your stash this week, over the weekend, that you haven't. Dominique, it's Bev Lovely. Sam's writing. I can't write and do this at the same time. I'm using the Posca, the white Posca. It's basically because I won't go on to a Delusions ink background with my White Ink Essentials rollerball pen until it's been drying for 24 hours. Okay? Samantha Thompson, you are... I tell you what... I'm not going to tell you anything, to be honest. You know what you like. And I seem to be enabling you right now, so I'm not saying a word. Right. So, thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. And I will, like I say, I will show you the finished page when it's done. Alright. Thank you very much. Bye.